Hey guys, welcome to a new video. And in this new video we are going to configure OSPF between Palo Alto Networks Firewall, vSRX, which is Juniper, JunOS OS, and a Cisco router. And this video is really going to define what I have done in the past year and a half. I have been working with Cisco. And then I went and jumped into the PCNSE. I did not complete that. I took a break, and the break that I took was to get my JNCIA certification. I took that, and now I'm back with Palo Alto Networks Firewall. So you guys are going to see a lot of Palo Alto Networks Firewall videos on my YouTube channel because I am pursuing my PCNSE again. I schedule it for I believe it's June 4th or something like that. So yeah, let's go ahead and configure this. So the first one that I'm going to configure is going to be the Palo Alto Networks Firewall. I already have a bunch of stuff configured, like interfaces and zones and virtual routers and all that good stuff I have configured right in the Palo Alto Networks Firewall. So let's go ahead and go into I also configure the management interface and all of that good stuff. So let's go ahead and open that management. And as you can see right now, we are in Palo Alto web interface, the GUI. And as you can see right now, I have Ethernet 1/1 configure, 1/2, the one that goes to Cisco, and 1/3, the one that goes to my local network configured with their IP addresses. I also configure a management profile to allow ping. As you can see, I'm also added all of them to the same virtual router out. So we're using the same virtual router, and the security zone, they are all in the out, even though this one is supposed to be in the in. So let's go ahead and put it in the in zone. Let's see. I know it is a little bit slow for Palo Alto, but security zone, I want this to be in the in. There we go. Good. And I also, if we go to policies, and in policies I have configured a zone to allow traffic from the inside to the outside, and from the outside to come back to the in. So I have configured those zones. And if we go back to the network, I've also configured the zones in and out. The in, it just is my local network. The outside has 1/1, which is the one going to the vSRX, and the 1/2, which is the one going to the Cisco router. So I configure that. What else I had configured? I had configured virtual routers, so everybody's in the same virtual router. I have added all the interfaces to the virtual router. So here's where I'm going to configure OSPF. You configure OSPF in the virtual router. So let's go ahead and go to the virtual router. And as you can see, you can configure, static routes, redistribution profile, rep, OSPF v3, which is for IPv6, BGP, or multicast. We are going to configure just plain OSPF, which is for IPv4. And the router ID that I'm going to give it is going to be 20.1.1.1. I'm just going to give it this IP address over here. We need to make sure that you enable that. We are going to leave this unchecked. The area ID that we are going to configure is going to be 0.0.0.0, which is area 0. The ranges, so I need to add all the interfaces in here, or all the networks that I'm going to be advertising. So I'm going to be advertising my local network 192.168.2.0/24. That 2.0/24. We are going to advertise it. We are also going to advertise 20.1.1.0/24, which is the one going to the vSRX, the Juniper device. We are also going to advertise the one going to the Cisco device, 20.1.2.0/24. Okay, great. So I have everything that I'm going to be advertising, all the networks. Now I have to go to the interfaces, and I need to add the interfaces that I'm going to be advertising. I'm going to add 1/1, the one going to the vSRX. I'm going to add another one, which is the one going to the Cisco 1/2. Okay, so that's where we are going to do that. And let's see, I believe I need to add 1/3. Good. After you do all that, you can just go ahead and press OK. Okay, we are all good now. But remember, in this Palo Alto Networks Firewall, this is in the candidate configuration, everything I did right now. So you need to push it to the running configuration. The way you do that is by doing a commit. So you need to commit your changes so it can be saved in the running configuration. You need to remember that. Just like in the Juniper world, you need to save your configuration to the running config, otherwise it won't take effect. In the Cisco world, which is the first device that I learned was the Cisco. If we configure anything in the Cisco, it is going to go straight to the running configuration. But if you reboot the router and you don't save your changes, then your changes are not going to be there anymore. That's the only difference between them two. So now we are done for now with the Palo Alto Networks Firewall. If we go to the runtime stats, you are going to see that we have the route table. We have those routes in the forwarding table. We have this right here. If we go to OSPF area, you see that we have an area advertising interfaces that we are advertising the neighbor. We don't have any neighbor just yet. So let's go ahead and configure the vSRX for that. So what we need to do, if we go to exit and if we go to show interfaces terse, we can see over here that we already configure this interface over here 20.1.1.2. So that is good. We have not configured GE0/0/0 for the one to the Cisco device, so we need to do that. And we need to do some other things. So let's go ahead and configure. The first thing that I want to do is to configure the interface going to the Cisco device. So the way that you do that, you want to do a set interfaces GE unit 0 family init for IPv4 address 20.1.3.1/24. After we do that, so we have now done that. If we go to edit interfaces, if we do a show command, we are going to be able to see the interfaces that we have configured. 20.1.3.1 going to the Cisco device, 20.1.1.2 going to the Palo Alto Networks device. So that is good. So now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and allow ping and also allow OSPF on those both interfaces. Let's go ahead and go to the tab, edit security zones, trust, and I want to set interface GE 0/0/. Let's go ahead and 0 first. Host inbound traffic system, and I want to allow ping, and I also want to allow, I believe it's protocol and OSPF. There we go. So I am allowing OSPF and also ping on this interface. So we are going to be able to form a neighbor adjacency with OSPF because the protocol OSPF is going to be allowed. Now I need to add it for the GE 0/0/1, which is the one going to the Palo Alto. So I'm going to allow ping just in case I want to ping. And then I want to allow OSPF because we are going to configure OSPF on that interface. There we go. Now we're going to the tab. After we do that, then we need to configure OSPF. The way that you do that, let's go ahead and do an edit protocols OSPF. And I want to configure OSPF, so set area 0 because that's the area that we configure in Palo Alto. And that's the one that we're going to configure for all the devices. And then you do interface, and then you configure the interface that you want to add, which is you can add this one for the Cisco device, and then we want to add another one for the Palo Alto device. And since this hasn't been committed to the running configuration, we won't be able to form a neighbor adjacency with Palo Alto. So we need to go ahead and commit. Okay, and after we commit, we can go to the we exited out of the configuration mode, and we are now in the mode where you can do the show commands and all that. So if you want to see if we have formed a neighbor relationship, you can do a show OSPF neighbor, and we can see that we have formed a neighbor relationship with the Palo Alto Networks Firewall. You can see GE0/0 /1.0, and it is full. We can see the ID. You can see the this is the priority, and you can see the dead intervals. So if you do a show route, you can see what we have over here. We have learned that the network 192.168.2.0, which is the one inside of the Palo Alto network. So let's see if I'm able to pin 192.168.2.1. I'm able to pin 192.168.2.1, which is the interface of the Palo Alto networks. Let's see if we are able to pin 2. I won't be able to do that because I don't think I configured this IP address, but that's fine. So we are able to relearn this network 192.168.2.0, which has 192.168.2.1 and .2.2, but .2.2, I believe I didn't configure that, but it is working correctly the way we wanted it. And we only have one neighbor. If we do show OSPF neighbor, because we have not configured this Cisco router to advertise OSPF, right? We have not configured anything. I have not configured even interfaces on this device over here. But since we have an area relationship with the Palo Alto, if we go to the Palo Alto Networks GUI, let's go ahead and go more runtime stats. Let's go ahead and go OSPF neighbors. You can see that we have the neighbor, our neighbor address 20.1.1.2 vSRX. You can see that the neighbor router ID 20.1.1.2. You can see what we are using, area 0, the neighbor priority 128, remaining lifetime, and it is a full, so it is working great. If we go into routing, you can see we really haven't learned anything for the vSRX. We are going to learn 20.1.3.1. I mean, we see it right here, so we should be able to ping that now because we have learned that. And there's the routing table. If we go to the forwarding table, we can also see it over here. And the next hop will be 20.1.1.2. You can see the U, which means that it is up, and you can see the G, which is the gate weight. So the gate weight is 20.1.1.2, and you can see the interface, which is going to be going out. Okay, so that is great. Let's go ahead and configure the Cisco device, which was the first device that I ever learned. Let's see if I remember how to configure this. Okay, let's go ahead and go to enable it. Config T hostname Cisco. That's fine. Let's go ahead and interface G0/0, which is the one going to the vSRX. And we are going to configure an IP address of 20.1.3.2 255.255.255.0. No shutdown. After we do the no shutdown, we should be able to ping vSRX 20.1.3.1 interface. So do ping 20.1.3.1. Or I should be able to. There we go. I'm able to. So that is great. Then let's go ahead and go to interface 0/1 IP address 20.1.2.2 255.255.255.0. No shutdown. And after we do a no shutdown, the interface should come up. For the G0/0 didn't do this because it was already up. So if we do a do ping 20.1.2.1, I should be able to ping the Palo Alto Networks Firewall, and I am able to do that. So that is great. So we have configured the two interfaces. So now what we need to do is configure OSPF. So you do a router OSPF. Previous ID 1, that's fine. Network, the network that I want to add is 20.1.2.0. That's 245. We are going to add it to area 0. Then we need to add network 20.1.3.0. You can see that we already formed the 20.1.2. That's so GE. Okay, so this one needs to be the 3.0. So you can see that we have formed a neighbor relationship with Palo Alto Networks Firewall, and we should be able to form a neighbor relationship with the vSRX, which is Juniper. So we have now 2 neighbors. The way to verify that, you can go to N, show IP OSPF neighbor. You can see that we have 2, right? We have 2 neighbors, and the neighbor ID for the Palo Alto Networks Firewall 20.1.1.1. The neighbor ID for the Juniper device 20.1.1.2. You can see that is full. That is great. You can see our local IP address. You can see the interfaces that is going out. If we do a show IP route, you can see the routes that we have learned. We have learned 2 routes via OSPF. So the first one was 20.1.1.0, which is going out of GE0/0. So via the vSRX, we have learned 20.1.1.1. So if we are going to go to 20.1.1.1, 20.1.1.0/24 is going to go via the GE0/0. So it's going to go out of the Palo Alto Networks Firewall. That is the way that we're going to reach this network over here. And if we are going to reach 192.168.2.0, it's going to be via gigabit 0/1, which is the Palo Alto Networks Firewall. So let's see if we're able to ping 192.168.2.1. I'm able to do that. Let's see if I'm able to ping 20.1.1.1. I'm able to ping 20.1.1.1, which is also the Palo Alto Networks Firewall. I'm also should be able to ping 20.1.1.2, which is a vSRX, and also 20.1.3.1, which is a vSRX. So I'm able to ping everybody. That is great, and it's working like a charm. So as you can see right here, I went over all the networks that we have learned. Let's go ahead and go to the vSRX. So since we are done with Cisco, right? If we do a show OSPF neighbor, we can see that we have 2 neighbors, just like in the Cisco router. But in this case, the address of the devices is 20.1.3.2, which is the Cisco device over here, and it's going out of gigabit interface 0/0/0.0 full state. You can see the ID of that device, and you can see the priority, and you can see the how many seconds it's going to take for this to go down, but it's just going to come up again. And you can see that we have another neighbor, which is the Palo Alto Networks Firewall. And if we do show route, you can see that we have learned a couple routes via OSPF. You can see the AD, or the route preference. That's what it's called in Juniper. In Juniper, it's called route preference. In Cisco and Palo Alto Networks Firewall, is called the AD, or the administrative distance. Okay, and then we also have learned 192.168.2.0 via OSPF. Here's the AD, or the route preference, which is 10, and you can see where it's coming, how we are going to get there. You can see the metric and all that good stuff. Great. Right here. So that is great. That is really good. Now if we go to the Palo Alto Networks Firewall, we are going to go to more runtime stats. You can see now that we have a way to go to 20.1.1.3. You can see all that good stuff. If we go to OSPF, you can go to see the area, the interfaces. If you go see the neighbors, you can also see that we have 2 neighbors, 20.1.1.2, which is the Juniper device, and 20.1.2.2, which is the Cisco device. So guys, this is set for this video. In this video, I show you how to configure OSPF between a Palo Alto Networks firewall, a Juniper device, and a Cisco device. I hope you guys enjoy this video. And if you enjoy this video, guys, go ahead and follow me on Twitter. I have a Twitter. Yes, I do. CCNA Daily Tips. Here's my Twitter. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter if you have a Twitter account. And if you don't have a Twitter account, go ahead and create a Twitter account. We have lots of fun on Twitter. And then after you create that account, go ahead and follow me on Twitter. Also, share this video. Share it with everybody. Share it with whoever you want if you enjoy this video. Also, hit the like button. If you have any questions, go ahead and comment below. And if you have what I was using for this, I was using EVE-NG, the Pro, EVE-NG Pro, which I paid for it. Yes, I did, because EVE-NG Pro is a lot better than EVE-NG Community version. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you on the next one.